Hey, Salakia, video cut. Right. Somehow lost or dropped the video by accident. Salakia. So this will be part two to I decided to call it Holiday Spirits. All right. So this will be part two to Holiday Spirits. Let's just pick up right where we left off. All right. So anyway, call Lloyd Yahweh Bahasham Hamashiach Yahushai Bahasham Rakakodash Barakatham Wata Wata. All right. First, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and from whom we learn this truth. Shalom to Akim, we're not in GMS, but are pushing likewise doctrine in spirit and in truth with all sincerity. To you few sisters that are listening and learning, as well as you speckled birds who are scattered among the nations, looking like those nations. To the 144,000 elect men, and the rest of the hopeful elect, to you I say, Shalom. All right, now that that's salutations and intro is out, now let's pick up where we left off. This is part two of Holiday Spirit. So we was talking about, how when we was coming out of Egypt, we wasn't even allowed to take the gold and the silver, the precious metals that was made of idols from those other nations. We were supposed to burn all of that shit, cast it out from among us, man. All right. So usually when people make idols of gold, they don't have wood and then overlay it in gold. So that's what I'm saying is Jeremiah kind of deviated a little bit. Anyway, the point here was, it's very clear that here in Babylon and around this time of year, they do that whole, Christmas celebration. So from there, let's grab Deuteronomy 12 and 28, right? And it reads, so like it says, observe and hear all these words which I command thee, that it may go well with thee and with thy children after thee forever, right? When thou doest that which is good and right in the sight of the Lord Yahweh thy God, all right, in the sight of the Lord Yahweh thy power, right? Now I want to pause there for a quick second, because when we out on the highways and byways and we kicking his word, or even when we putting up videos, you might have somebody make a response or a scoff or come up or whatever, or even in passing, right? Even if you choose not to engage somebody, you often hear a lot of people try to measure the Lord based off their standard, right? Well, how come God do X, Y, Z, and that ain't right? And this, how can he say he all loving, he be killing people? And how come, who told him, how come he get to pick a favorite? And listen, shut the fuck up. The Lord made everything. He can do with it whatever the hell he please, because everything is his, from the chosen to the heathen, the despised, the bases of men, and the other nations, the heathen. They're all his. All right, now he gives dominion to who he wants to have it, but we all belong to the Lord, right? Even in the heavens, all right? Around the throne of the Heavenly Father, you got angels on the right hand side and angels on the left. So yes, the Lord, he sends out all things, man. good and bad, blessings and curses. We are proof of that. All right. The Lord puts evils in the earth. After all, if you go to Genesis, it said what? The tree of the knowledge of good and evil, right? So, anyway, ain't no sense in get no sidebars. But the bottom of this verse says what? When thou doest that which is good and right in the sight of the Lord thy God, in the sight of thy Lord Yahweh thy power, man. So that means his standard reigns supreme. All right, supersedes all. I just wanted to make that point because I be getting sick of some of these people. I'm gonna say some of these individuals on here, and they little peep fucking brains think they got shit figured out based on their standard of righteousness, and they fucking ass backwards. Anyway, reading on. This is 29. When the Lord thy God, right, shall cut off the nations from before thee. So when the Lord Yahweh thy power shall cut off the nations from before thee, whether thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them, and dwellest in their land, that's going to make some people upset. Take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Right? So the Lord is warning us not to do that. And what do you see here in Babylon the Great? You see everybody doing that shit. Man, at the plantation, you got fucking Hindus running around the plantation talking about some Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Whoop wop, whatever. Whoop wop the band, whatever. Right? Buddhists running around talking about some Merry Christmas. They don't say it like that. You know, they say Merry Christmas. But, you know, it's a plethora of ideologies and philosophies and gods that's worshipped over here in Babylon the Great, right? That's one of the things that, quote unquote, made this place so famous, right? Infamous. It should be the word, right? It's what made this place so famous or great according to the Constitution. It was freedom of religion. You can come here and worship who you want to worship, right? All the while, this is supposed to be, the Bible is supposed to be considered the law of the land here, the scriptures, which is why they still swear in the inauguration, they swear in on the Bible. They're some hypocrites, though. Anyway, but you know, our people, man, we into Christianity, even if they bad Christians, or say that they not Christians, they'll celebrate Christmas, right? You have Muslims fucking around going over. They might, I don't even know what holiday they celebrate this time or whatever. But you know, they got like their Ramadan and all that, whatever customs they get into, right? And they'll go to a party. Motherfuckers at my job be like, "Oh, you not coming to the Christmas party?" No. Ain't been to one yet. Don't plan on going. Oh man, you should come. No, I'm straight. I'm busy. Busy not being around you, mother suckers. Anyway, uh, so the point I'm making is, here in a society that is pretty much embraced do what thou wilt, right? You can worship whoever, and don't get it twisted, because all of the um, huge empires before this one had multiple gods, right? When you go back to Greece and Rome, which America spawned from, they had multiple gods in Greece and Rome. When you had, before that, when you go to the Persians had multiple gods, right? All of these heathens have multiple gods. They got more than one. But we have but one. That's what make us such a peculiar nation to the heathen, man. That's what make us such a peculiar people to the nations, because we don't have many gods. So like we don't have many gods. We have one, and his name is Yahweh, right? That we reverence as the creator and the source of all things. And then we have his son, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, right? Whom agree. Who is a power, he is a God. But the supreme is Yahweh, man. And Yahweh Shai tells us that, all right, that he was sent on behalf of his father to do his father's business. This is why we praise Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, right? Because he's our intercessor, he's our go-between. Okay? Verse 31, just reading on. Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God. Meaning what? You can't even take customs from other nations and worship Yahweh like how the heathen worship their gods. You're not even allowed to do that. Yahweh gave us specific instructions on how we were to worship him, right? And even Yahweh Shai says what? Those who worship him have to worship in spirit and in truth, man. Right? Verse 31, thou shalt not do so unto the Lord Yahweh thy power, for every abomination to the Lord Yahweh, which he hateth, have they done unto their gods. For even their sons and their daughters have they burnt in the fire to their gods. Right? Right, so that's talking about child sacrifice unto Moloch, right? Along with other things. Don't forget you had temple harlots for sexual rituals and things like that, opening up portals and all type of shit that these devils was doing, man. These other nations was doing. This is why the Lord says what? In verse 31, he says, for every abomination to the Lord which he hateth, have they done, right, unto their gods. So we are to be what? Separate. What's a word for separate? Holy. Okay? How the Christians say, sanctified. But we are to be separate. And I don't fucking mind being a Grinch, so to speak. Everybody at the job want to wear holiday colors. I come in there and all black, brown, whatever. Anything but the right colors. Be that joker all blue, all gray. Anywho, All right, so we are set to a different standard, man. And this should be common knowledge, uh, to you Hebrew Israelites, especially if you knowing, if you know who you are. Right, let's go back to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 3. Because again, our people have done all type of wickedness, man. As I mentioned, you got the Christians and the Muslims having holiday parties, going to the holiday parties at the plantation parties, right? Parties, however you want to say it. Okay. And this is a parable. Well, it's not a parable. This is Jeremiah was talking about this. Now this is after the kingdom split, right? So it's speaking of Israel, which is the northern kingdom, but when you read down, it talks about how Judah, which is the southern kingdom, start going off too. All right. And the reason I'm bringing this out is because, again, our people ran to every God under the sun except for coming back to our true power, man. The one who brought us out of Egypt, the one who massacred, all right? I mean, obliterated the Egyptians for us, man. And I say that proudly, right? That shows that you got a God that ride for you, man. He got a long trail of bodies behind him on behalf of the people that he loved, right? And in righteousness, though, and you look at the folly in the world, man. People of the world catch bodies and do all type of wickedness for somebody who ultimately betray him, and who's of nothing worth, right? But how much more if a man can be down here, you know, well spoken of because of his loyalty ties and his level of protection for his family or friends or whoever. How much more the Lord, man? But our people do not give him that reverence. You want to give your reverence to white Jesus or Buddha or Krishna or Hindu or the ancestors or Allah, some rock at Mecca, Prophet Muhammad, whoever. Yah. And that ain't his name. His name is Yahweh. All right, anyway, Jeremiah 3. That was a disclaimer. This video might be longer than the first one. No, that was a disclaimer. Anyway, Jeremiah 3 and 6. The Lord said also unto me in the days of Josiah the king, hast thou seen that which backsliding Israel hath done? Let's get this word backsliding. See, because Christians be using that word a lot. A lot of people don't be thinking like that's a New Testament word, quote unquote, so to speak. But let's get that. Mashawaba. Mashawaba. Right? And it means what? Turning away, turning back, apostasy. Who? Backsliding, turning away. Schwab, right? Shawab, right? Shawab is the root word, and it says to return, turn back, to turn back, return, come, go, back, return, of human relations, of spiritual relations, to turn back, apostatize, to turn away, turn back, repent, right? Turn back, bring back, allow to return, pull back, or so like you put back, draw back, right? Okay. So Mashawab, turning away. All right, and we did. We turned our face from. Listen, we turned away from the Lord long before He turned away from us. So when He hid His face, He was just really showing us what time it was. Like He was really just letting us know, this what you did to me. So I'm gonna show you how that shit feel. Anyway, verse 6, the Lord said also unto me in the days of Josiah the king, hast thou seen that which backsliding Israel hath done? She has gone up upon every high mountain and under every green tree, and there hath played the harlot. And I said, after she had done all these things, turn thou unto me. But she returned not. And her treacherous sister Judah saw it. Right? So when you keep going down, you find out that Judah ended up doing the same thing, the southern kingdom. Let's read. And I saw when, so like in verse 8, and I saw when for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot also. You see? And see, this is speaking of our nation, man. So the Lord likened us to what? As a woman. That's why He's speaking of adultery and divorcing. All right? So we was the Lord's woman, man. We is the Lord's woman. We is. We are. All right? Now, the thing I want to do is go up. And this is the question right here. In verse 1, it says, they say, if a man put away his wife, and she go from him and become another man's, shall he return unto her again? And by the law, the answer to that question is no, according to the law. Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But thou hast played the harlot with many levers, right? So as we have read, we have done that to the Lord, man. We've been out here hoeing, tooting that box up, right? Just laying with everybody, man. And what it say? It say, yet return again to me, saith the Lord. So the Lord is really showing compassion here, because according to the law, once that's done, the woman supposed to be put to death for adultery, right? If a woman divorced a husband, if a bill of divorcement is written between the husband and the wife, right, he cannot go back and remarry her. That's it's a wrap, right? And she gotta either remain unmarried, wait for him to die, or commit adultery by remarrying. Right? And so if the man anyway, I don't want to get off too deep. You know, if the man initiate that, divorce, for anything other than adultery, then he's causing her blood to be upon his hands. Anyway, that's a sidebar. So the point is, and the Lord gave us the law, man. So he really showing like how much he rock with us. Because he gave us the standard, but he's like, look, I made the rules. I can bend them. I can break them. I can do what I want. And the Lord showing us this, right? He showed us this over and over again, man. All throughout the scriptures. If we just look. It say, yet return again unto me. Return again to me, saith the Lord. Right? But again, we didn't do that, man. Out here, like I say, tune that box up. Tune that funky little box up. This is 1 Corinthians 8 and 1. Now I'm gonna disclaim. I'm gonna qualify this, right? Now, when you read this in the book of Corinthians, when you read these scriptures I'm finna bring out, all right, because what I want. I want verse 5. All right. Just because we were speaking on the multiple idols and stuff in this land and around this time of year, right? And some people might be like, oh, you got just Jesus, baby Jesus. Look, you got people worshiping white Jesus. You got people worshiping Mary. You got people worshiping Santa Claus, whether they realize it or not. Mrs. Claus, the elves, the deer. All right, putting offerings out, the milk and cookies. What you think that is? That's an offering. The symbolism of that tree and all the shit you hang on the tree, them bulbs. I told you what that's going into, like the Yuletide thing, right? Then you deck it with silver and gold. You wrap it in lights, and I forget what they call it. That other stuff, garland and the whatever. Right? People be hanging candy canes on there, throwing chocolate in it, all kind of shit. Right? Sticking little stuff in there. Those are offerings. Salakia, y'all. Salakia. Like I said, not 100% of the weather, so bear with me, it's much appreciated. But yeah, so those are all items, right? And it's a multitude around this time. Okay? Now, verse 5 is why I wanted that. But before I read it, I want to qualify. This is speaking about food, all right, in 1 Corinthians 8. It's speaking about food, okay? Now, as y'all know, if you grew up like how I grew up, especially if you grew up in a so-called black household, right, then y'all gonna have like Christmas breakfast, you got Christmas dinner, right? Then you got whatever other custom or whatever shit y'all doing. So it's always a meal or some type of convocation to go along with the holiday. Just like when you go into our holy days, right? A lot of the times we have convocations, man. And then we may have Think about Passover, right? We got food for that convocation. All right. When you go into first fruits, we got food for that holy day. When you go into uh uh the feast of weeks, going into booths, right? Now you going into tents, but once you do your observing, right at nightfall, you had your food and your wine and stuff, right? Some people is really no set way on how to celebrate dedication in the scriptures that we can read about, but you have a lot of people who in the faith, right, or just they choose to have some type of meal, around the days of dedication, all right, and they give, exchange gifts then or whatever, even around Purim, right, which is really when we do our most of our gift giving. It's around Purim, but you know, similar kind of thing, man. So the point I'm making is, food's involved a lot of times with these idol worships and all that too, in the form of offerings and all that other stuff. But here, uh, for the sake of the many gods, that's in verse 5. All right, this is 1 Corinthians 8, and let's start at I'm gonna start at 3. I ain't gotta start at 1. And it reads, but if any man love God, love Yahweh, the same is known of him, right? As concerning therefore the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that there is none other God but one, right? For though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many, verse 6, but to us there is but one God, one power, the Father, Yahweh, of whom are all things, and we in him, and one Lord, Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, by whom are all things, and we by him, right? So that's the point. And as a Hebrew Israelite, right? As an Israelite, that's what we are. Some people throw that little brew slang on it. You brew, whatever. When you come back to the faith, all right? When you come back to the fold of worshiping in spirit and in truth, sin or less all the gimmicks, right? Right. Sin is like Spanish for without or less, right? But less all the gimmicks, without all the gimmicks and all of the other bullshit. When you just come because you want to serve the Lord in spirit and in truth, then you're gonna separate from the world. All right. That's why I say right here in verse 4, it says, as concerning therefore the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that there is none other power but one, right? And that's who we serve. All right, as pertaining to, like I said, verse 5 and 6. Originally I said 5, but it's 5 and 6. All right. For though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many, but to us there is but one power, the Father Yahweh, of whom are all things, the source of all things, right? And we in him, and one Lord, one Master, right? Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, by whom are all things, because he made all things that we see in the world, and we by him, right? And that's pertaining to the book of John. Okay. First John, Salakia. We go to First John. You read that. In the beginning was the word, right? That's Yahweh Shai. So that's who we worship in spirit and in truth. Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And in this season, all right, because pretty much from like, what they call October up until now, from the fall to the winter months, the late fall, through this first half of the winter, right? It's a lot of spirits moving, man. A lot of spirits, because right after this, quote unquote Christmas done passed, but then you got this whole fucking false New Year's coming up, right? With that whole Janus, looking forward and backwards, spirit, all of that. So there's a whole nother thing behind that. New Year's Eve. That's another idol that a whole bunch of people, regardless of their religious affiliation, gonna partake in, man. And I know I'll be pissing people off because I don't be answering phones and none of that shit. Somebody call me around this time, I am unavailable. Anyway, hope y'all got the point. Repent, right? That's we went to Jeremiah 3. Return unto the Lord, all right? Stop backsliding. As the Lord say what? If we acknowledge our offense and return unto him, he'll accept us, man. But he didn't give that spirit to everybody. So, if you're questioning things, tune in to GMS. It's a lot of videos like this one and, many others that, go in depth to give any of you new brothers and sisters out there some a direction. All right. But anyway, I pray this lesson finds you well. I pray it was edifying. Until next time, Shalom. Wa abad babal. Shalak mata babal. Shalak rayam.